Aloszka ludzie, Madeleine speaking, and I will probably have to postpone my dream of becoming a solo game developer. How surprising. For those of you who don't remember my previous video, I am really done with my current Unreal game, and I am desperately hoping I will manage to follow the minimum viable product plan that I laid out a month ago. This master plan is supposedly my ticket to finishing a demo version of my semi-open world detective game Solhame Chronicles by the end of December. Somehow, it became a super linear and predictable game, but this is a problem to be solved by a future me. Over past 4 weeks, I was supposed to finalize the save system and create 10 to 15 minutes gameplay for a chosen chunk of a story. So, let's see how it went. First, let's celebrate a minor success. I did manage to finalize the save system in 2 hours, which translates to 5 workdays. Yes, I don't spend too much time on this project. But let's get back to 1st of October when I started working on implementing a story. I had to decide which fragment of the story would be the best for the demo, and since my game is now a walking and talking simulator, I picked a part with some dialogue lines and mini-game to provide a touch of a variety. After I did this, I rebuilt my Solhame city level as I needed to decide in which city areas the story would happen, and I also wanted to implement level streaming from the start. It turns out that I've spent nearly a year developing a story system that's about as useful as a chocolate teapot for this narrative. So I needed to dedicate a few long days to adding functionalities that would make it even remotely functional. I introduced more quest conditions, added facts to the story, which is actually a huge step for me, and enabled the blocking and activating of quests based on what the player knows. I also granted dialogues the power of area markers, even though I'm not entirely convinced if I should have markers in this game at all. But hey, I'll keep them for now because the last thing I want to do is waste time on implementing a map system. Of course, the moment I started messing with the story system, I realized it needed the save system to handle it too, and so I spent numerous hours solving mysterious crashes, only to notice that no one will ever use a save button in 10 minutes of gameplay. A real return on investment, right? Then, for some reason, I decided that this was the perfect time to dive into Blender or educate myself or hunt for assets to purchase. Clearly, I excel at sticking to my plans. Procrastination 1, Madeleine's productivity 0. Also, I didn't know how annoying and tedious is dialogue writing. My system isn't exactly user-friendly. It doesn't support circular choices and lacks conditional dialogue lines. You know, something of sort, if you talked about this already then omit this line, or grey out this choice if you already discussed it. So, I had to write the same thing multiple times and make sure I didn't end up with nonsensical dialogue paths. And I still don't support random dialogues in the system. You know, so that the player can talk to more people in the city. So I had to create hidden objectives within a quest, each containing a semi-random dialogue. Of course, there's no option for hidden quests in my system, which means every dialogue reroute is as clear as day in the journal. A masterpiece in the making. In the end, I didn't even finish all of the dialogue lines, so I just have placeholder texts there. Well done! So, altogether, I spent 26 hours, so 3 weeks, on this MVP point, and I didn't finish implementing a story. I wasted almost 40% of this time on the tasks that I didn't even need to do. But I want to stick to the MVP timeline that I set for myself, and I will polish the story if there will be any time left at the end of this project. So what's next? According to my so ambitious plan, I should create a minigame that players must endure to gather clues about the investigation. I should also create a small section of the city. Considering my snail pace with asset creation, you can rest assured that I won't be achieving this task on time. Keep your fingers crossed anyway, because we are getting closer to actually abandoning the sinking ship and start new, exciting projects. You know the drill. Don't like, don't subscribe, and I see ya when I see ya. Pa-pa!